Hi, dear students. My name is Vachaspati Bimali. By profession, I am an IELTS and PT instructor. Additionally, I teach compulsory English and major English up to college level. Today, in this short YouTube video, I'm going to tell you the summary of the interesting chapter named A Respectable Woman. This chapter I have extracted from one of the novels written by Kate Chopin. Okay, the novelist, the writer of this story is Kate Chopin, and she is an American writer. At first, I would like to tell you the three main characters of this story. Number one, Mrs. Baroda. Here, Mrs. Baroda is a protagonist of the story, and she is a wife of Gaston Baroda. Number two, there is another character named Governor. By profession, Governor is a journalist and he is a college friend of Mr. Baroda. Number three, Gaston Baroda. Gaston Baroda is a honey husband of Mrs. Baroda. Okay, and here the setting is sugar plantation. Okay, so what happens in sugar plantations? Mrs. Baroda and Mr. Baroda go there in order to plant sugar, in order to plant sugar cane. So let me tell you at first the background of the story. Here, the story Respectable Woman has been written by accomplished writer named Kate Chopin. Kate Chopin was an American novelist. She was a veteran and successful novelist, and she has written so many stories. She has written more than 100 short stories. A Respectable Woman is the most popular story. The language used in her stories is full of sexual connotations. Let me make you understand in another things, in another way. The writer has especially used, okay, so people cannot avoid themselves, people cannot keep themselves aloof from the sexual pleasure. Most of the stories she wrote about what sexual connotations only. The story moves around the character of Mrs. Baroda and her inner conflict. She finds herself attracted to her husband's friend's Governor. At the beginning, she doesn't love Governor. So what I mean here, when Governor came at her residence, at first, she didn't find him a man of likable personalities. Okay, he was not social, he was not frank. But after some times, okay, she falls in love with Governor, who is a close friend of her husband. Slowly, she finds herself in the climax of love, and she controls herself at last because of the social norms, values, and rules. Here, the main theme of the story is that love is blind, and we should be careful and responsible towards the society and the family. Now, dear students, I am going to tell the summary of this chapter, okay, within a few minutes. The conflict flow follows the pattern of classical fictions and moves from expositions to rising actions and then to climax and resolutions. Mrs. Baroda is dissatisfied because her husband's friend Governor is planning to stay a week or two at their plantations. She has never met Governor, but she knows that Governor and her husband were friends in college, and he is now a successful journalist. Before meeting, Mrs. Baroda has a mental image of him as a tall, slim, cynical, with eyeglasses and his hands in his pockets. But a paradoxical thing happens after them. When she meets Governor, she gets him slim, but neither tall nor cynical. She discovers that she really likes him. Now, let me tell you in another words. At first, when Mr. Governor comes nearby the tree plantations of Mr. Gats Baroda and okay Mrs. Baroda, At first, what kind of mental picture Mrs. Baroda has about Governor? Oh, he must be very tall. He must be keeping his hands in his pocket. But later on, when he approaches there, so she doesn't enjoy the soothing and calming presence of Mr. Governor. So she finds her extremely unsociable. She does not find him very frank. As a result, she dislikes him at the beginning. But later on, Mr. Governor, proves himself very frank, sociable, and after that, Mrs. Baroda starts liking his friend, and she gets attracted with his friend. Now let me go ahead. Mrs. Baroda gets wondered that why she loves Governor since he make no special effort to impress her in any other way. In the same way, she is unsure why she likes Governor because she does not see all of his positive characteristics. He doesn't appear intelligent, but in reactions to her excitement to welcome him and her husband's hospitality, he appears quiet and kind. He loves sitting on the field and listening to Gaston's explanations, sugar farming methods. He does not seem to be very bright, but calm and polite. Mrs. Baroda finds Governor to be little confusing, as she finds him to be charming and harmless. As days pass, slowly and gradually, Mrs. Baroda starts paying attention to her husband friends, who is a successful journalist. Slowly and gradually, Mr. Governor starts exchanging, his tender feelings. He starts sharing his feelings. As a result, Mrs. Baroda, who is a honey husband of Mr. Gaston Baroda, starts liking him. So let me go ahead. She has heard from her husband that Governor was smart and clever, but she finds him totally different when she meets her. She first leaves him alone with her husband as she works to overcome his nervousness. He begins to accompany him on walks. Her husband informs her that he will be staying another week and inquires her why she doesn't want him. Gaston says he would be delighted when she respects him well. So as days pass, okay, so husband strictly tells to his wife, you should show due respect to my friend Governor. And he says, I'm pretty sure Governor is a nice man, he's a gentleman, okay, and he deserves huge respect. So what happens? Okay, as time passes, Mrs. Baroda starts giving company to, Mr. Governor. Okay, and after a few days, husband asks to his wife, so would you mind if I asked you a questions? So what's your questions? Why do you dislike my friend Governor? And in response, Mrs. Baroda says, your friend is reserved and he doesn't talk. He doesn't share his feelings with us. This is the reason why I hate your friend. So later on, what happens? Mrs. Baroda claims that she expected Governor to be more interesting and frank. But Gaston tells her that she does not expect disturbance over his visit, that he just wants a break from his busy life. Then she sits alone on a bench later that night, desiring to leave the plantations. She told her husband that she might go to the city in the morning and stay with her aunt. So as days passed, when Mrs. Baroda, okay, shows, when Mr. Baroda was infatuated, when she was attracted to her husband friends, so inwardly she doesn't feel happy. Outwardly she was not happy with her husband. So here what we can notice, her husband might not have satisfied her sexually. So this was the reason why she wanted to be very close with Mr. Governor. So at the same time, she thinks, okay, now I'm a respectable woman, and I'm a wife of Mr. Gadson, so I shouldn't cross the limitations. There is society, there is social norms and value. I shouldn't go against social norms and value, and I shouldn't show this kind of, let's say, attitude, this kind of behavior to my friends, to my husband's friends. In order to control her feelings, she decides to go to her auntie's house, which was a bit far away from her residence. Government notices her and sits next to her. Governor on Gaston's behalf hands her a scarf and speaks about the night, and his quietness fades as he talks for the first time. He tells her about his childhood and his wish for a peaceful existence. She is attracted to his voice more than his words, and she considers drawing him closer. She controls because she is a respectable woman. She eventually leaves, but Governor stays behind to conclude his talk for the meeting. She wants to tell Garsons about her foolishness, emotions, but she understands and hides it secretly. Mrs. Baroda goes for the city the next morning, and she does not return until Governor has left. Gaston requests that Governor return the next morning, but she rejects. At last, she changes her mind, much to her husband's surprise, who assures her that Governor did not deserve her disapproval. She kisses her husband and promises that she has overcome everything and will now treat him with more respect. In this way, the story ends. Gaston is delighted when she says that she prefers him to be more demanding. Now, dear students, let me make you understand what I have said just now in a simpler language. So, what happens, in the end of the story? Okay, Mrs. Baroda leaves her residence for a couple of days, and she goes to stay with her auntie's house. So, having stayed in her auntie's house, after that, Mrs. Baroda goes to stay in her auntie's house for a couple of days. And Mrs. Baroda, what she decides to go to her auntie's house so that she can control herself, so that she will not have to see the presence of her husband's friend's governor. And having stayed in her aunt's house for a couple of days, she gives phone call to her honey husband. She said, "Hello, husband. Is there your friend named Governor still staying in your house?" And husband says, "No, he has already gone from here." And after that, Mrs. Baroda returns from her aunt's house, and she says to her husband, "So as long as your friend stayed here, I was not satisfied, I was not happy. That's why I went to my aunt's house." And husband asked, "Why were you unhappy with my friends?" And she said, and he was very reserved and he didn't talk frankly. That's the reasons, I hated his presence. And after that, okay, she promises to treat him more respectfully when he comes next time. And after that, husband immediately tells, so he's coming here next summer. And after that, Mrs. Baroda gives French kiss to her husbands, and this is how the story ends. Okay, the main motive of the writer of this story is that, okay, so sometimes women seem to be very happy with their husband inwardly, but outwardly they are not happy. So this chapter displays the character of unhappy woman who is living a conjugal life. So at last, what I would like to say, women seem to be happy outwardly, but inwardly they are not happy. If their sexual needs are not fulfilled, So women may take the help of the outsiders in order to fulfill their desire. This is a biological need. So today I have said the summary of Respectable Woman. Dear students, and I will come in next video. In next video, I will be speaking about another topic. So if you like my teaching style, please subscribe my channel and wait for the next video. Bye bye. See you again.